Hey everyone, it's Desiree, and this is day 24. One more to go of my Christmas series for 2020. For this one, we're going to feature a 3D embossing folder, and it's actually by Altenew. It was recently released, and I'm going to be pulling in a sentiment set by scrapbook.com called Big and Bold. And this is certainly big and bold, and I really do like it. Well, we're going to be using the Believe in the Magic of Christmas. I love those bold letters at the top and the beautiful script below it. Again, a fan of poinsettias. There's like that theme's going through this series as well. I absolutely love, but what I loved about this, I saw that one poinsettia. It just stood out on top of that embossing folder. So we're going to work on the sentiment first. This card's actually going to end up being a 6x6 card. And I'm going to be using my Tonic Studios card bases. They are a great thickness and a great deal when they go on sale. And I've already pre-cut my cardstock. So I'm actually using, cardstock from my stash. That cardstock that I am hoarding. For some reason, I just don't, excuse me, want to use it. Excuse me. I'm doing that, and I found I did that a lot throughout each of the days of this series. I dug into my stash of cardstock, my scraps, the stash, and you know what? It felt really good. So please, I encourage everybody, do this. I use my Recollections Gold embossing powder to, so that I can heat emboss this. I am a fan of the Recollections embossing powders, the gold, the silver, the copper, the champagne, and the white, the fine detail line. I get a perfect heat emboss with one stamp, with one time with the clear ink. With others, I feel I have to do 2 or 3 to get a smooth finish. So again, just my personal opinion, but that is the sentiment. I'm going to trim it down, and I'm also going to trim down the metallic cardstock that I'm going to use, and then the black cardstock that I'm going to use. So the cardstock this is a red satin mirror cardstock by Tonic Studios. I believe it's called Red Opera. And it's absolutely gorgeous. It has this black tint to it. So it's a satin, but like if you tilt it, it just has this black sheen that goes on it. And you guys know me. I pull in the black soot all the time, and it makes people go, no, don't do that. But I just love the look. So I'm going to run this through. So this is a 3D folder. Now I can't show everything because my camera thing fell over. So when it comes to 3D and I'm using my Platinum 6, I put the platform, the 3D folder with the paper in, and one clear plate. And that seems to work. If I have to change out the clear plate, it will be the embossing folder plate by Spellbinders. I am now cutting out that poinsettia that I saw. So, now don't get me wrong, I know there's other images there, but I just loved this large image. So I'm using my scissors to cut this out, and I'm just cutting along the deep end of this image. I'm then going to take this, and here's the piece of black cardstock. It's going to sit, and you can see there's like a dotted raised texture. I believe this cardstock came from one of the Pink and Main card sets, where it's got the bubbles, texture dots into it. I cut a rectangle of black. I cut a rectangle of the red mirror satin cardstock, so that my sentiment can sit on top of that as well. I've used my paper creaser to curl the edges of those leaves of the poinsettia. I'm going to prop up the sentiment card on top of the other two pieces that I have framed. That'll sit below that. And again, just to give it dimension, I mean, I've got dimension and texture going all throughout this card. I've got the black with the dots. That's texture. I've got the poinsettia from the embossing folder, and it's a 3D embossing folder, so it really pulls that out. But what I'm also going to do is I'm going to pull in my craft knife, and the center part, it's almost like that's defined as well, and I'm going to cut along that so that they stick up. I'm going to place some double-sided foam squares under that, and I'm going to double that up. So that'll give it just a raised look, but again, they're going to be curled, because I'm going to make sure that I do that with my paper creaser. Remember, when you're using your craft knife, take your time, don't go too fast in case it slips. No one needs to cut themselves. Go ahead, ask me why I'm warning you about that. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You should enjoy the process. We don't need to rush through it. It's not a race. I am using my vintage photo into this. It was close, but I wanted to take away those white edges that you're seeing from this cardstock. I want that white to go away, or dull. Be very dull. So you can see I've curled them. Now I'm going to pull in those double-sided foam squares. I'm going to cut it down. Cut them in half. So that it's just a small area that will have the foam square connected to it. I am also going to add foam squares to those two large leaves that are coming down as well. Again, it's just another way to take off of that texture and provide the dimension. And this is going to sit up in the corner because I've got those straight edges. This large poinsettia came off the corner. And I just really like that. I'm still going to allow the black to be seen around that corner so that it looks like this is framed. I am going to set glue just in certain areas so that the foam squares can take over and it will have that raised look. I love the fact that that one leaf is just coming perfectly down over the sentiment. I'm adding just a little bit of glue to some of the edges so that it holds it in place. But you can see just all of the sheen, the satin look. This is, as I said, going to be placed on one of my Tonic Studio card bases. From them, I like to get the 7x7, the 6x6, the 5x7, because it's such an odd size and it's easy to get them. And again, always reasonable price when they're on sale. I'm going to pull out my gems again, and I'm going to set some gold gems right in the center of the poinsettia, just to make that stand out just a little bit. And I'm not adding gems anywhere else. Usually I would add them on the outside, off of that poinsettia as well to continue it. I didn't want to break up that black in any way, shape, or form. I think just having those differences and that plain, that simple look is just making this card pop right off the page. I really did like this. I think it came out really cool, and I just love the colors. That red is just absolutely gorgeous. So I do hope you enjoyed, and yes, day 24. So day 25 is just around the corner. I know this is probably going to be showing on Christmas Day. So I hope you are all enjoying this time with your family. And if you can't be with your family, that's okay. It's why we have the technology. We will be able to be with our families again and our friends. As always, the products that I use will be listed down below. And if you have any questions, make sure you leave those down below as well, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Smile, laugh, enjoy. But most of all, remember what's most important for me. Always be creative, and we'll be back with day 25 to end it all. Take care, everyone. Stay safe.